makikita po ng buong mundo
Na
sino yung magaling.
competitive.
Gusto namin contest.
This is A Dose of Ketchup by Navitas.
The person that I'm talking.
Grabe naman.
Ay! Okay!
He gets to keep his job.
Wow.
A Dose of Ketchup is our latest offering to the Navitas community. We hope to bring you meaningful conversations that can equip, inspire, and perhaps even challenge you to try out new things. Hello, I'm Melvin, and I'll be your companion in the next minutes. Coming out to play with us today is our friends from Navitas. So, let's listen to them here in the first ever episode of A Dose of Ketchup. Sali ka? Laro tayo! Let's welcome our guests. Starting off with the founder of Navitas Life and Learning Incorporated and the program director for storytelling, Teacher Elo Kiambao.
Hi everyone, my name is Elo. Many people call me Teacher Elo because that's who I am. Actually, I started out as a preschool teacher, continued on as a teacher even in other levels, went on also to become a teacher for teachers, a mentor for teachers, and then yun, and this is where I am now, the next chapter of my teaching life, which is Navitas. Mamaya na yung istorya.
Next, we have Program Director for Guidance and Counseling Services, Teacher Jack Laga.
Hi, I'm Teacher Jack. I've been in the counseling work for the past 30 years. Tara, usap tayo.
Also joining us is the Program Director for Math, Teacher Sachin Sandalo. Hello, Teacher Sach. What is math again?
Hi! Math is not the villain!
And completing the group is the Program Director for Auntie's Art Nest, Teacher Sara de Vera Buico.
The ultimate auntie in the group.
I'm Auntie Sarah, some call me Mama Sarah. Kilala niyo ba yun? I'm an art teacher and I'm also a senior artist for Navitas.
Okay, are you ready to play a game?
Yes.
Hindi naman po siya talaga contest, pero makikita po ng buong mundo
Na
sino yung magaling.
competitive.
Gusto namin contest.
Show you an object. You think of a different use for that object. So, kung ano yung not normally ginagamit that object.
So we have to use our imagination.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The crazier the idea, the better.
Yes.
Ako gumagawa ng trabaho. Okay lang.
He gets to keep his job.
So, our object is a metal bowl.
Parang I imagine the person that I'm talking to. Parang an empty.
Oh, wow.
Be an empty cup. May nanalo na.
Uwian na.
Tayo sa philosophical.
Ang unang pumasok sa isip ko, yung laro namin nung mga bata kami. Yung may lata. Hello? 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 Eh, naririnig. Hindi nyo na alam yun.
Coffee shop, orders ready.
Food related. Food related. Food related.
Pwedeng pang ligo?
Ay.
Pang inom? Pangka?
Let's hear more of their stories on how play has been vital in their life journey, specifically in Navitas. But before that, we would like to invite you to follow our digital accounts. Please follow Navitas Haus on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. You can also access this podcast through the Navitas YouTube channel. Please subscribe to @Navitas_House. For updates and highlights, kindly follow us on Instagram @adoseofketchup_by Navitas.
Sir Elo, can you tell us, most especially dun sa mga hindi pa nakakaalam masyado sa story ng Navitas, how Navitas came about? And since we're talking about play, we enjoyed the game earlier. Was play essential, or did play a vital role in the putting together of Navitas?
Ganda naman ang question mo. Pwede kayong mag-butt in anytime pag may naalala kayong anecdote. So, a little background. I graduated from my course in college, which was business administration in the 90s. But after that, long story short, I did not go to corporate work. I went right away to teach in a preschool. Pero hindi naman yun mini mo. I was already feeling hindi ko pala gusto yung, a very, to be in a box. I don't mean anything negative by that, but I want something more spontaneous, playful, relational, engaging. I want to be laughing. I want to be in that kind of very playful environment. And then, of course, before I applied in my first job as a preschool teacher, alam ko na that's the kind of environment that I wanted to be in. So, I started out as a preschool teacher in the 90s, and I've been to several schools. I'm so grateful to all my mentors, the school founders, directors that I've been exposed to. But at the same time, when you're young, you're looking for role models, you're getting inspired by your mentors, whether they know or not that you actually see them as mentors. But when you're young, you're also building your own ethos as a young professional. And I realized, we may all be preschool teachers, pero at the time, we would also value each other's differences. Ako, gustong-gusto ko yung play. Although there was a time when my the age group I was handling, sila yung parang next school year, they would be entering grade 1. So if you're that kind of preschool teacher, may konting pressure from the society, from the parents, good pressure that you make them pass the entrance exam of their choice, lalo na pagka very competitive, very limited yung slots in that big school. So, it's so easy for me to fall into the trap na wala nang maglalaro, lahat tayo mag-worksheet, lahat tayo magdidrill, lahat tayo magpa-practice exam. But I would observe myself, kahit na matagal na yun, I remember play is so important. So, for me, the number one thing that I would always strive for is when they enter the room or when they come in the morning, I know that they're excited for school. Parang feeling ko, katapusan ko na pagka ayaw nilang pumasok ng school. Parang feeling ko, I did not do my job well. And yung to the point din na pag-uwian na, ayaw na rin nilang umuwi. Alam mo yun. Kaya nga, one of my best stories ever would be my memory of a little boy, maybe he's 5 years old, tapos na dismissal time na. And then, he went back. He just opened the classroom, sumilip lang naman. He didn't go in. Kasi pag teacher ka, important na rin yun. Kasi uwi ka pa, you need to fix your room. So sabi ko, oops, time to go home. Parang bukas na. I have to prepare for the activities tomorrow. You have to wait for your mommy outside. Sabi niya, no teacher, I just want to say, thank you for always thinking of the best ideas for us. So yung sabi kong, no entry, kulang na lang, come, I hug you. And then, pero parang feeling ko, those are my rewards. So I've always been, magnetized towards play. Not because I want to look good in the eyes of my children, but for me, I don't want them to lose that sense of play, that sense of wonder, that sense of excitement and zest in life. So fast forward to today, of course, the pandemic happened and a lot of changes took place personally, family, socially, globally, diba? A lot of things were put to a stop, and though nobody wanted that pandemic to happen, it all also made us reach a point wherein what's next? And then of course, respectfully mentioning this, during the pandemic, we all saw how short our lives can be, 'di ba? So naparating tayo doon sa point na paano pag ako rin pala, 'di ba? Paano pag ako rin pala this year na lang. So it made me personally ask na parang meron pa ba akong gustong gawin for others? Maybe not in terms of, the scale that the society can measure, na ano ang bottom line mo, what are your assets, how big is your property, but in terms of just living to the fullest, in terms of who you really feel you are. So I felt that it was time for me to leave the school system. As much as I gained so much insight, as much as I grew so much, I was in a school setup for less than 3 decades naman. Pero going there. So you can imagine, but if I were to observe myself, even in a school setup, syempre meron niyang controls, meron niyang compliances, rightfully, kasi kung hindi, mawawalan din naman ng standards. But I've always wanted to break free from the system, not because I did not believe in the system, but because I wanted to try out other things. So I'll give you an example. Nagdala ko ng buhay na baboy. Sana lechon di ba? Nagdala ko ng buhay na baboy sa school in my class. We took care of that piglet. Sana longer, pero I was only allowed 1 week because our entire curriculum for that period was 3 little pigs. And I wanted the children to really have an interaction with a real pig. Wala pa si Peppa noon, Peppa Pig. Wala pa. One of the boys named her Isabel. So, parang I've always challenged myself, what else is possible? What else can be pleasantly surprising? Not just to the children, but even to myself. So, I guess that's a personal philosophy na parang when we create things, it shouldn't just be for others. The first person you should create for is actually yourself. Na parang nafe-feel mo, this is so nice. Not to, it's not for the ego, pero you're also amazed at what is possible when you don't put a limit or cap into the different things that you can do. So, yun na nga. During the pandemic, we founded Navitas. We found this property in Poblacion. And this is a new category. We're not a school. We're not a daycare. We're not a museum, we're not a tutorial, it's a learning house. Maybe all the things that we've always wanted to be part of a learning environment, but sometimes compliances get in the way, sometimes short schedules in small chunks get in the way. So, we're here to complement the school, we're here to help homeschoolers, we're here even for adults who believe in the child version in them. So, that's the story behind the founding of Navitas.
What can we expect from Navitas and the program that you're leading po na specifically storytelling, help nurture yung play for kids and their parents and for young professionals?
When I had the vision of beginning Navitas, I wasn't sure of how it's going to be like. I wasn't sure who's going to be with me. I did not know what the team will be like. All I knew was whatever I could do with my 24 hours, yun na yun, parang ganyan. Sometimes we have this lofty dream of doing everything when actually you have limited time. So I wasn't aiming for, I need to do this, that, diba? Ang dami, whatever I could. But as you mentioned already, storytelling is something I like. And parang the play activities that I would do with my preschool students before would always be tied also to a very good story. So parang treasure ko yon na pag nakanap ako ng children's book na parang feeling ko, hit ito, this is so nice, yun. But of course, along the way, I found myself being surrounded and eventually being joined by other people. Kayo yun? Wave naman kayo, yan. Who have their own platforms, who have their own whys, W-H-Y, in life, But also, because I've known you, there's also an element of play. So, Teacher Jack, for example, has been a licensed guidance counselor for the longest time, pero hindi rin siya yung may table, diba? You like doing counseling and guiding children and even teenagers in a fun way. Teacher Sarah is an artist, so she handles Auntie's artness, pero hindi rin yung art na nakakatakot pagka mali, baka mag-gradean or something. In fact, I credit her for my love for the arts kasi parang feeling ko, kahit na I believe in play, I've already labeled myself as not good in art. But thanks to Teacher Sarah, she has a way of making you rediscover.
Grabe naman.
Totoo yun. Other versions of yourself na dormant lang siguro or sleeping, but it's actually there. Then of course, yan, my favorite math teacher, parang ang dami ko naman is Teacher Sachin because the name suits her so much. Math is not the villain. My daughter has a weekly meeting with her for discovering her math superpower. Once in a while, parents like me would also have a session with her. Yung math niya is nothing like I've experienced before. We're allowed to make mistakes. Not to say mistakes are what gets glorified, but even mistakes are used for us to deepen our understanding of a math lesson. We're allowed to laugh. We're allowed to exchange stories related to a math concept. We're allowed to ask. I'm seeing people in this group who carry their own platform but are not so linear. Alam niyo yung linear na parang sundalo na ito lang, ito lang, ito lang. But people who are willing to discover more about that platform. So what to expect? We're not even yet 1 year old when we open no August. But more of our offerings also evolving and hopefully finding the families whose own philosophy and hearts resonate with ours. So if you also believe na schooling is nice, homeschooling is nice, but if there are other ways to access the other phases of learning, that it can be fun, it can be meaningful, it can be curated, it can be satisfying, my daughter's favorite word lately, satisfying, then here we are for you.
For more stories and insights from our guests, don't miss part 2 of this episode. Follow Navitas Haus on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you again next time for A Dose of Ketchup.
Ang
Ang hit. Ang hit.
Ayoko rin maging lang.
Ang hit.